appreciation of the city and the people that's in it. We ask in Christ's name, amen.
Amen. All right, call this meeting to order. Jim?
Yes, sir, Mayor, Commissioner, the first item we have is in reference to 102 Stone Drive. The last thing we had was Mr. Mike had a contract on a separate piece of property, and Attorney Gibson was working through to see what the options are to try to make that happen. Mr. Gibson's indicated to me that Mr. Mike has voided that contract and also been notified by the building department that Mr. Mike has inquired about trying to go ahead and move forward on getting the permit to install the mobile home in the current location with the new foundation plan. So we're currently, right now, there is a stop work order in place, but we need some direction at this point. We need to decide, are we gonna keep the stop work order in place? Or are we gonna look to get an outside second legal opinion? What do we wanna do at this point in time?
Gentlemen?
Mr. Creel have an approved foundation plan.
He does have a foundation plan that he does have, that he's been reviewing. He'll be here in a minute. I'll let him explain that to you, Mr. Bezant. But yes, sir, he does have a new foundation plan that he has been reviewing.
I think there's so many unanswered here, and I know that, we've had Tom look at it. There are some different scenarios here, guys, that I think that may come into play here. I wouldn't mind us seeking a second opinion on this. Just to have them look over it and see what our options are, if we have any options, before we go any further with it. And, anybody else got anything on that?
I agree with you, Commissioner. There's some factors that also, regardless of the foundation plan, it doesn't meet the LDR. And we can say it meets the building code or whatever, but the plain fact about it, it doesn't meet the LDR. That being said, I agree with Commissioner Thurgood. I think we need to let a different set of eyes look at it, as far as from an attorney standpoint, and see which way we need to go. So I'll put that in the form of a motion that we, and I'll put in there that we'll let Pat Floyd look at it. He's already involved in the case already with the Manufacturers Association, and we'll go. If that's whatever.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion by Commissioner McCollum, second by Commissioner Thurgood.
So he's second. Yeah. So your idea is to get another attorney's opinion, and if, that attorney feels like we have an opportunity in a positive way to fight what we've done, then we'll go forward.
Well, I'm just saying, he'll give us a second opinion, and it's not, it's not for litigation. All we're saying is he's gonna tell us what he thinks, where we're at,
Yeah. Cause we've got to,
we gotta put it to rest, one or the other.
Right. We
And
can't
I've
keep
talked-
kicking the can down the road.
No, I've talked to Tom, and Tom, he was on board, with us going, so.
I don't have a problem with that at all. We've just got to, like.
We gotta get it done with it,
Right.
one way or the other.
Yeah, and we've accomplished part of what we've set out to do, which was, change the LDRs to make it a little more difficult for manufactured homes to, come into the city. We've done that much.
Right.
But we need to find out a little more on the other side, what kind of chance we have,
That's right.
so.
I just have two questions. What do we think we're gonna put some kind of cap on what we can pay Pat Floyd just to look at it, or just let him charge us what he wants to charge us? And the next question is where we get the funds from? We need to know that before we go any farther.
Well, the only thing is
I agree with everything.
I
we
would
just need
think that probably, though, all we're looking at here is probably a consultation fee. Am I correct? Would y'all think?
Yeah, he's just gonna look, he's gonna look at the.
We're not talking very
exactly.
much money right
Yeah.
now, just
A
to get a
legal
second
opinion.
That's
opinion.
right.
Now, if we
That's
go
right.
forward with this thing, then yeah, we need to back up.
Yeah, I
But I
agree
think
with you.
right now,
Yeah.
we're just looking at probably a consultation fee.
It wouldn't hurt if you wanted to put a cap on it. I think you're probably looking at, if I had to guess, like I said, I've not talked to Mr. Floyd, somewhere between $1,000 and $2,500 if I had to guess to give you an opinion of what you're looking on this thing. And right now, I think you would stay within the amounts that you have allotted for attorney fees for the year. So if you wanna put a cap on it, that's more.
I'll say,
more fine.
I'll say on this $2,500,
It's fine with me.
you know,
That part of your motion.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
anybody wants to speak.
Does anybody in the audience wanna say anything on this matter today?
Can I ask just a question, is
Yeah.
why, what was the reason why, Mr. Floyd was going to be chosen? Just,
Biggest
I mean,
thing,
why are you going, I understand the staying local, but would a different eyes outside of local?
well, the only reason I suggested Pat, he's already in litigation, with the Manufacturers Association on another
Okay.
case
Yeah, they're
in
trying to
Franklin
put one
County,
in.
they're trying to put one in Franklin County doing the same thing.
Okay.
And he is very familiar with the, you know, so that's the only reason I said Pat.
Well, that
So,
makes perfect
Right.
sense then.
Right, so he,
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
we get her name?
Well, I need her name, and if they would come to the
Oh,
podium, it will
your
pick up
name,
a little
please.
better.
Cindy Pate.
Mindy Pate,
Does anyone else wish to say anything? Please come up.
My name's Lee Fontaine, I live on 108 Brenda Drive. Has any other building inspector looked at this home to make sure that it is what they say it is? Have we hired anybody from outside, just an independent inspector? I'm not talking about just a home inspector, I'm talking about a state certified building inspector that knows what he's looking at.
Right.
I mean, somebody needs to go through that thing. and
We
make sure
have
the
not,
windows-
but that's probably a good
Windows meet
idea.
wind code. The trusses are like they're supposed to be. I mean,
Well, I thought when it had the HUD sticker, it already met that.
Yeah.
well, the man said, he paid a lot of money to get that sticker.
Yeah.
And I know of a gentleman that looked at that, that's been in the manufacturing facility in Georgia. Not this particular one, but one in Georgia, that has built mobile homes and modular homes for 40 years. And he walked around it and looked at it and said, this ain't nothing but a double wide trailer. Somebody needs to look at it other than Bo Creel. He's the reason we're where we're at now.
Jim, you got any ideas on that part of it?
Well, I think two things. I think you could get somebody else to take a look at it, absolutely. But at the end of the day, I think what you're looking at is you will have to have somebody that's gonna go toe to toe with the state, because the state has put that sticker on that thing, is what we got, Lisa. Somebody from the state put their license and their job on the line when they put that sticker on that thing on there with the, on it.
And that first engineer stamped that set of plans, and he wouldn't stamp it again.
Absolutely.
And those are all things that if you do take the legal avenue on, these all things at
They
this
will
point.
look at anyway.
Exactly. I don't think you wanna show your hand at this point on those kind of things, but you are correct. Those are kind of things that you really get into the nuts and bolts of it if you get to the courtroom setting on these things.
Something in the milk ain't clean.
So, those are all things that would have to be addressed in a courtroom.
I think it's a good step, we'll go with Pat, yeah, and we'll go down that road. I think you're right on target, Lee.
You may mention it to Pat.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but why should one man affect the whole city?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, cause we gonna lose a pile of money in our property value out there according to 3 different appraisers that I've talked to. And it ain't gonna be just on that street or the next street, it's gonna be, it's gonna reach out into the city, and then it's gonna be like a snowball effect, and people are gonna wanna fight it all throughout the city to put one in. But there's still a lot of property for sale around. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Lee.
Yeah, that would be
And,
where you bring in that expert at that point.
Yeah.
Jim, I
Yes,
know,
sir.
I read in the paper, I think it was Sunday, Panama City Beach is in this litigation about spring break. The League of Cities and Insurance is gonna pay for the litigation. Can we not look into that and see if they'll pay for our litigation, if we have to go to litigation on this?
Well, this is what they'll tell you. They won't,
They do in Panama City Beach.
right. It depends on what type of litigation it is, but what happens is, whenever you get a lawsuit, you send it up to the league, and then they decide whether they're gonna cover you or not and give you the representation on there. So that's how it works. You can notify them and say, hey, look, we got pending litigation, but they won't even give it a case number or anything until you get a legal letter. That's when they send it on to their staff and they do the review on it and tell you whether they're gonna represent you or not. So, yes,
I'm
that's,
just wondering, like, I saw in the paper.
there's a possibility
They
there.
are gonna take care of their.
Good, they could.
Anybody else in the audience? Come on up.
Matthew Taylor, 3206 Garrison. I'm just curious, what is a reasonable time frame with that? I mean, because this has been going on since June.
Right.
And I know we're trying to put it to bed, but, you know, I realize that it'd be lovely if we could, you know, call that thing out and we figure it out, because it would put the onus on him as far as what he figured out what he's going to do. But as long as it's sitting there, you know, it's kind of like possession's 9/10 of the law, and that's kind of what he's sitting on right now.
Right.
And I'm just curious as to a time frame, what would be realistic?
I would
I
think,
mean, 60 days, 30 days?
I think 30 days. I would think 30 days. I think
Well,
you
I
should-
We would,
Yeah,
we'd
I
like
would
it to be
hope
done
too,
in
but,
30
you know,
days.
We
Yeah.
started this back in June, and we're still where we are, having the same conversation, so that's why I'm just curious.
Yeah, why don't we ask for 30 days and we'll see what we get.
Yeah.
We don't have the money
Okay.
to drag it out.
No,
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, you know, it's kind of fish cut bait, so that's why I'm just curious. Okay,
that's a good point. I say we ask for 30 days.
Something
Ken.
reasonable.
All right, anyone else? All right. Next item.
Yes, sir. The next item we have is in reference to the wastewater treatment plant central heater air unit. We've had it in the budget for several years. We've nursed it along, and I think it's finally quit on. I'll let Mr. McCrone, who's a lot better knowledgeable in this area, explain what we got going on.
We have passed this thing and gone a lot further with it than we thought we ever would, so it's time that we've got one compressor down, running on one, but it's time.
We got money in the budget for it
Yes,
already?
sir. We put $11,000, I believe, in the budget for this year. We carried it over year to year. We knew it was gonna happen soon.
Yeah.
Right, sooner or later.
We just needed permission to go out and bid for this.
I won't be voting on it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Mazette, second by Commissioner Thursby. Discussion? Commissioner McCrone, you know, we voting on this?
Bid on it.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
The last item we have on there, Mayor, was in reference to the Presnell's lift station. We've been working on it for a while. This project's been worked on for several years. If you'll turn into your packaging, I did give you a copy of the information in there as far as the contract, with Mr. Presnell. What they're looking at, they paid $104,000 for capacity based on this contract back in 2005. We've had ongoing discussion. I believe they brought on some new investors. They're requesting the city to build a lift station. We went out to bid for it, and it came in real high. So we're down to, it's been looked at again by Mr. Grantland. I think he's got it down to $120,000, but it's a substantial expense, so we need some guidance.
Well, if they don't wanna pay us to build it for them, I guess they can build it themselves. The way I look at it.
I would just
We're not gonna do it for free.
paragraph 5, Jim says, the owner understands that the infrastructure within its development shall be the responsibility of the owner. That constitutes a lift station.
I believe that would definitely constitute everything outside of there. And basically, this contract to me, like I said, I'm not an attorney, but the contract to me, this secured them 26 ERCs, equivalent residential connections, is what they purchased for $104,000.
They're basically paying for their capacity, correct, Jim?
Yes, sir.
So they paid that.
Yes, sir.
But in line 5, that spells out the part that we're talking about with the lift station, correct? Where, you know, it says the owner, understands within the developments that shall be responsibility of the owner for any internal system which the owner decides to give to the city shall be accepted only if a certified engineer meets all the plans and specifications of the city's code. To me, I would think that, you know, we've done what we're supposed to do so far, correct, John?
I think we need to get a little advice from Mr. Gibson on this thing. The letter that he received, Gravel Ridgeway back then said the 104 includes full payment of your lift station and pipe from under the city line. There will be no other sewer charges connected to this project. I don't know if that means anything or not. I mean, that's not really in the contract, but is it implied? So we need to really find out what this all means. I mean, I want to get them online, but I don't want to have to pay any more than we agreed on in the contract.
I think it's gonna be a great project, and I'm excited to see what they're doing out there. The city just does not have that kind of money to start building developers lift stations. I totally agree. We need to get a second opinion on this one for sure, or a first opinion from an attorney.
Paragraph 3 states that you can return the rest, you can return their deposit if the estimates come in substantially higher than, or if the bids come in substantially higher than the estimate. I mean, it sounds like we can put it back on the table and have them pay the difference, whatever they've paid us plus the difference between that and the bid.
That's a good point.
Why don't we highlight some of this stuff and let
Yes,
Tom
we just wanted y'all to take a look at it, to let y'all know where we're at it. Mr. Grantland has looked at it again, trying to do everything he could to reduce those costs, and I think he's got it down
I
about as good
think
as he
we
can.
whittled it down to about as good as he can get it.
Yes, sir. What do you understand their timeline is? Are they pushing for an expeditious start?
Their plan is, as a matter of fact, Charles Costin came in the other day and indicated that he was wanting to get it done by May, I believe. I think he was trying to start booking people and start making reservations, so yes, they're.
Well, we'll see, we've got a meeting Tuesday, and Mr. Gibson will be back in town this week, one day.
I just want to get y'all out what we have, that way you know exactly where we're at.
All right,
We'll table that, and we'll have it on for next Tuesday.
okay. We have one other thing, a gentleman wants to speak to us this morning, it's not on the agenda, but he came to speak to us, Brother Tom Curtis.
Thank you very much.
Come on up to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor Bo. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm Tommy Curtis, and I'd like to speak to the honored city council. I would like to say that I'm here about the Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. It's a commemorative event. First, I want to go on record that I was never a big fan of Dr. King. I'm an ultra-conservative Republican, and there were some things that were going on that I wasn't really pleased about, but I've looked at it back. I've looked back at it after things have happened in America, like Ferguson, Sanford. I was involved in that Trayvon Martin madness, and I'm like, wait, hold up a second. It used to be we could sit down at the table and talk, at least, and be sensible about things and not destroy property and have people coming in from Miami up to Sanford at 200,000 or 300,000 people. So we need to control our communities, basically. So in doing that, people need to feel the holiday is important to them, and I think it is. So my wife and I, we took a position, Coral McNair Curtis, that we would go into these various communities and assist people in really pulling out of themselves some self-esteem, whether they be, felt like they were beat down, disenfranchised, whatever the word is, marginalized, as they say in these various churches, and we've gone into these churches. So we've been successful in doing that in Edenville and Ivy Lane, and we've, gone in like First Baptist Church of Orlando. We've done a consortium of things. The United Methodist Church has really worked with the Salvation Army, because people are hurting, actually. In our case, we come from a gated community experience in our lives, but, not everybody has that. So we have to understand that sometimes people are looking for something else. And I want to give people an opportunity to pull themselves up, because I'm about self-empowerment, a hand up, not a hand out. Don't even come to me talking about anything closely related to welfareism, because I'm not that guy. So what happens is that we've got this event. And I think Port St. George is at a point right now, because we got the seaport coming with Eugene Jr. And I really, as an aside, the last time I was in this building, the man that brought me here is the co-founder of Ward Ridge, George G. Tapper. I came here because Gene Rockfield Sr. and George Tapper said, won't you come down here and see what we've got going? And I was director of seaports for Governor Bob Graham at the time in the mid-'80s. So what I'd like to say is to get back to that point. Whatever we can do, we need some T-shirts, and we're going to get the T-shirts. Everything's going to be funded. We're not begging for any money or anything. We're just asking for assistance. If you got any non-discretionary funds that can be utilized, you can send the funds directly to the entity. Nobody's trying to touch any cash. But we'd like to do something to pull this out, because we like to develop Dr. Martin Luther King. We've been in 3 communities where there is actually money available, and we're not even utilizing this money. It's like there's one place up in Maryland, they're like $750,000 every 3 months they're getting for the development of their Dr. Martin Luther King. There's these funds placed there by Congress sitting there, and if we don't use it, somebody's gonna buy another yacht, and we need to bring it to Port St. Joe. That's just my point. We need to set up community policing grants because about 60% of the people in that community are functionally illiterate. We can set up a community policing grant where the arresting officer, check this out, this is what's really powerful, it's been really big help in Orlando. The arresting officer actually goes to that gentleman and a person or female in that family and say, okay, you know, you're reading below a 3rd grade level. Now we know that number means you're headed for incarceration. We already know that. Okay, so, because I'm part of that group too, the Penal Institution Development Group, so National Prison Company. So what happened is that, but they've lost $1.6 billion a year for the last 10 years. So $16 billion, you need to try to look another way, you know, think outside the box a bit. That's what we're doing. So we're saying, so we set up free faith reentry enterprise. That means you come in here, we're gonna teach you how to read. We're gonna get you job skills. We're gonna send you away. We're gonna develop you in such a way that you and your family will be able to set up a franchise. We'll send you away 6 to 8 months because a lot of the individuals who don't read, they're heavy into interactive stuff. They know computers and things of that nature. So we teach them on video till we get them to the point where they can read at 8th or 10th grade level. And it's been successful using Dr. Frank Laubach Literacy Council material. And that police officer or that public safety officer will get that individual twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday, teach them how to read. For that, they get a $750 per month tax-free stipend through the International Association of Chief of Police. This is all part of what this Dr. Martin Luther King is in my mind, okay? Now, you know, where you take it and where the community takes it, we'll work and massage it, but it's gonna go in the direction of their empowerment. I'm sick and tired of people of color saying what the Caucasian man didn't do for them and you didn't help assist us with this, it's time out. It's like, what are you doing for yourself? Instead of walking around here between 12 and 6 o'clock in the morning, chicken head and doing all this other crazy stuff, we are basically going to address the reality that you need to better yourself. Because when you do that, you better the community, your family, everybody gets better. We have a seaport, a state-of-the-art seaport coming here that Eugene Jr. is heading up. And we need to make sure before that thing hits online and running full bore, that we've got something that can present to the world. Because everybody and their cousins coming to see it. They're coming. They're going to be here. And what's happening is that we need to have our best foot forward. So we need to make sure that Southport St. Joe works consistently with Northport St. Joe to develop and build it up on their back. We just flip the script. Okay, now tell us what your plan is. How can we implement this plan with and for and on your behalf with you? And that's where we are. We have t-shirts that I know already. This is the only price I know. I haven't gone to Eugene yet or Mark out at Simmons Bayou at St. Joe Shrimp, but he works with me all the time when we do these types of community things. And so we're going to cook all day long. We're going to start the parade at 10 o'clock at City Hall. It's amazing. I'm so proud of this when Mayor Bo mentioned something about it. I wasn't going to say anything about the holiday because, you know, I was going to go to Tallahassee or Panama City. But when Mayor Bo said, you know, would you think about doing something? I said, yeah, I'll think about that. I mentioned it to the wife. She said, they need to do something. The people need to pick it up and run with it. So, because they keep coming in our face talking about when they're going to do something for Dr. King. They haven't done, see, that's what I'm talking about, Tom. Over at City Hall, they're not helping. So now you got a chance. Put your best foot forward. Let's work together, cooperatively. Because that's the one thing that I noticed in looking at all these old films of Dr. King. There are people from everywhere holding arms, walking down the street peacefully. They weren't throwing bricks in buildings and things like that. Even though they might have disagreed. At least they went and sat down at a table at a United Methodist Church or somewhere and held hands and prayed and they talked. Sensible human beings. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some cooperation, whatever it might be. I mean, I got a call last night from someone, they said, hey, I got 20 people in Weewalk who wanna give you at least $150, just go see them and get the money. I'm like, well, I don't really quite do it like that, but hey, whatever's going on, I need to get somebody to make it out. I say, what I need to do, I'm gonna have them send the funds to like Piggly Wigglies or something, Mr. Durham, because we need chicken. We gonna cook all day. I'm gonna get, Calvin Pryor III and his dad have a place right on Martin Luther King. We're gonna cook from there all day long. We like tents there so people can sit down and enjoy themselves. There's not gonna be any loud music going on, period. Okay? This is gonna be a sensible environment, people walking around, mingling, talking to each other. How can we make it better? Dealing with these shotgun houses and the substandard housing in the community and working together, really. And started doing like that. And I mentioned to Jim Anderson some time back and Mayor Bo, I'm interested in that community development block grant, that small cities thing, so we can come in here and do that because there's funds available. I mean, it's startling to me that we have resources available that we are not accessing. See, everybody got upset with former President Reagan, whom I worked with, Ed Meese, Attorney General, when in the mid-'80s after I left the Bob Graham administration. But what happened is that he said blacks should be glad that they were slaves. I know you remember the statement. Blacks should be glad they were slaves and brought to America because all these opportunities that they have now. And it's true. They didn't have it going on in Ghana. If you weren't in the right family, kid, you out in the woods and you getting shot at and beat down and everything else. Now you got Boko Haram running around up in there. So what I'm saying is that you've got a situation where you've got resources available. How can we work together to make it work and pull these resources in that are for us? They're for us, these small cities funds. We've got to use them. We've got to use them. So I'd just like to have some thoughts. I want to leave this stuff with you. I'm going to give it to someone. I'd just like you to break it out and look at it. Yeah, if I can do this, man. Somebody decide. If you pass that out for everybody, please. And we do have a Port St. Joe address. That address is P.O. Box 1372. But we bought David Langston's home. And my wife has done an HGTV thing on that house. I'm telling you. When we have that big barbecue, and it's coming soon in a couple of months, I want everybody here to come. Really, I mean that. Everybody here to come. I mean that. Everybody here to come. Because, see, David was that kind of person. He was about everybody. David Langston loved Port St. Joe. That's all I can say. When he came to me when I worked for Governor Graham, he said, we need to set up basketball camps, Tom. I'm like, David, I'm in Tallahassee, man, my schedule, I'm doing 125 miles an hour and a 35 mile zone and trying to shut it down. No, you got to come down here. I'm bringing Larry Bird in, you bring Bill Walton. You come in, I'm like, oh. Okay, I said, man, these guys want to get around the beach and they want to be here, so we bringing them in. Self-esteem raising, and we can do it. We got the technology to make it happen, and we can make it happen. But we're going to do this. Break out those for me, please. Mr. Ashbrook and Thursby, and I need to get your email address because you're on our team. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So I need to get you all the information. We got a beautiful red, white, and blue banner. At Ramsey's, Mr. Willie Ramsey Sr. has done it up with Ashley, and I really would like for you to go by and look at it. I mean, just look at it or whatever, give me your email address and I'll send it to you, because it's nice. It's red, white, and blue, and it says it all. We Americans first. We are Americans first. I mean, my mother was a master sergeant in World War II, so you can understand what's happening here. Thank you so much. God bless you, and I appreciate it, and whatever you can do to assist, we would appreciate it. Whatever, non-discretionary funds or whatever.
Let me just say,
yes, sir.
I commend you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
I think all of us have agreed with the upcoming budget. We are going to start trying to budget a little bit of money for this event that we're trying to put on.
Right.
Special event. Right now, Jim, is there anywhere we could maybe pull just a couple of $100 to give to this organization for now, and then in the future maybe we can do more, even if it's $100.
Right, that's right.
What have you.
Like we can plan to have some fundraisers for the next.
Right.
From year to year, we can
Exactly.
set
That's
up a couple chicken
That's right.
cook-offs or
That's
something,
right.
you know.
Exactly.
You
That's right.
make plenty of money doing
That's
that.
right. That's
That
right.
would cover a lot of the cost of this event.
That's
But
right.
we've never had one.
Yeah, we might have.
And Ms. Letha asked you, she
That's
brought
right.
it up.
That's right.
And then she brought it up again, so,
Yeah.
we talked about it last year and
Praise
it's
God.
fastly approaching. So that's
Right.
when I told her, I said, get things rolling.
We try to
And that's
do
when I talked
Right.
to you and said, I'd like for you and your wife to help.
Exactly.
I
Thank
think
you
y'all
so
make a
much.
great team.
Thank
And
you.
we appreciate everything you're doing, and we'll try
Thank
to
you.
do everything we can. Jim, do we have any money?
We didn't budget for it, Mayor, but if you wanted to spend a couple $100 on something, we'll be able to find the money.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Curtis, may I ask
Yes,
you a
sir.
question?
Yes, sir.
On your, contract here for the, T-shirts, it's not binding right now.
No,
is it?
it's not.
Because what I would like to see you do,
Okay.
we like to spend our money locally.
I agree.
And, we've got two firms in town, we've got Ramsey's and we've got, Coast to Coast that do this type of thing.
Well, let's do it.
And,
Let's do it.
I
As
would
long as
love.
we get a turnaround, that's all we.
Exactly, and I'd love to see you go to them with this and say,
I'll go right by.
you know, what can you
with
do
this right
for
now.
us? We
Okay.
wanna keep money locally, and I think taxpayers will feel better about us
Okay.
pulling something out of our budget
Okay.
to help you
And
if the money
I
stays
don't
local.
know, with time being short like
Yeah.
it is, it
That's
might be
what we-
better this time to go with the smaller
Right.
amount of shirts to 100
Yes,
instead of the 5-something.
right.
And then next year, maybe we can plan
That's good.
and
Yeah.
put it in the budget
Okay.
some money and do some
Exactly.
fundraisers, like I said, so next year it'd be better.
Right. That's good.
We get bigger and
We
better.
got commitments for this already. Individuals have already stepped up. And I'm proud to say these are, people of color. They've stepped up and said, hey, you know, what do you need? Let us know what you need. And we say, hey, this is it. So, and we've stepped in with capital, but it's whatever piece you can do. And $100 is $1 million to us right now.
Do we need to do a vote on this, Jim?
Whatever it is.
You can't, it will just give us direction to do it. If you just tell us what we're,
To, give them $200.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Thurman. We have a second? Second.
All right.
All right.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Brooke. All in favor?
Well, there's a little discussion.
One
One
discussion.
more, I mean, sometimes you get better price, if you, with larger quantities.
That's why we did that.
But if you don't put the date on it, like this year's date,
Yeah, you know, that's what my
You
wife
could-
said.
you could
use it next year.
next year.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so.
Yeah, the
so
catch is that the T-shirt is gonna say the first annual.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
because this really is like an historical type thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna make this one, but next year from now on, it's gonna be generic, like David and I used to do for his basketball camp.
Right.
You don't put a date on. Miss Amelia Chapel would give us the funds, say go to Dothan and make it happen. We work with Willie, and Willie would send us to a place in Dothan, they offset credit for, we drive up, get it, and drive it back. I mean, we ready to work with whoever needs to be worked with to make it happen for the community strengthening themselves. That's really where I am, the community empowerment.
one question, Mayor, it's $200 to Ramsey's Printing, is that who we're?
That would be fine because they got the banner.
If anything
That-
else,
that-
we have
that
to
would be
pay for
excellent.
banner.
That would help pay
It's
for the
good at
banner.
Ramsey's now.
That would-
That's part of my motion.
Okay, that'd be great.
Mr. Mayor, EPCI will add $100 to that on behalf of the city.
Praise God.
All right,
okay.
we appreciate
Wow,
it.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right, all right, y'all.
Thank
Any
you.
further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes
Wow,
5-0.
Thank you so much.
And 1 minute before you step
Yes,
down
sir.
there, Brother Tom.
Yes, sir.
For any of y'all that don't know Brother Tom, he's quite an individual. He graduated, I think, from Leon High School in
Yes, sir.
1969.
Yes, sir.
Went on to play for 4 years with John Wooden at
Yes, sir.
UCLA.
Yes, sir.
How many championships y'all win?
We won 4.
He won 4, I
Yes,
thought
sir.
so. And who was your center during those years?
Bill Walsh.
That's what I thought.
That's right.
This man has been around, he played with one of the best basketball minds
Yeah,
you
Coach
ever
John
did.
Wooden was a great man.
And he went all the way from Tallahassee, Florida,
Yep.
out to UCLA to play ball.
Praise God.
So I appreciate that
Thanks
for
so
you
much,
too.
man. Boy.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Tom.
God bless you
Thank you
guys
so
too.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, sir. Appreciate it. God bless.
Anyone from the audience wish to speak on anything at this time? All right, Mr. Thurston, you got anything?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Mr. Westbrook?
Sir.
Nothing, bud.
No, sir, that's good.
Very
Very
good.
good.
I need a motion to adjourn.
All right.
We'll do it again next week.
That's the order. I just want to see.
Right.